Scoundrels, Inc., another Star Wars podcast. I am Frank Janish alongside Kevin Smets and Brandon, the Smash Man, Poop Man, Hannah.
Smash.
And we're talking, this is Thanksgiving.
Alternate universe.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving, and we're all gathered here to talk about things we're thankful for in Star Wars. I don't really know how this one's going to go because we didn't really talk about it too much. I don't know the format. I think we're just going to kind of like blab for however long this goes. You already know by looking at the timestamp or whatever. Kevin,
we can go over some news too. There's a couple news.
Oh yeah, there's a couple news things. We can do that. Yeah, good call. Good call.
Because I mean, the only thing I'm thankful for is being able to see you guys every day that we record these episodes. So that's why I'm thankful. Oh. End of episode. Let's go to the next one. I'm feeling good, dude. Did a run this morning. Gotta go to the gym afterwards. I'm freaking pumped up. Wow. That joke is actually for the next episode. I forgot we're not doing battles this time, so wait till next week and you'll see the conclusion of that joke.
Next week we'll be doing battles. Yeah.
Brandon, Hannah, how are you doing?
Yeah, I was going to say we have a lot in common. You went on a run this morning. I had the runs this morning.
There we go.
So before we jump into things, hit subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like this video. Leave a comment on what you're thankful for in Star Wars or just in general. And also, our goal, since we reached 500 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone out there who subscribed. We're trying to hit 600 by the end of the year. Let's try and make it. Will we? Will we not? Stay tuned. Also subscribe again, if you didn't. Our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Follow us over there. You see some clips from the shows. And Threads. Brandon's favorite. He's got to get that Threads plug in there. And then if you want the podcast version, we're on Apple, Spotify, everywhere else.
Trust me, they want the podcast version. They don't want to see our faces every day, dude. Look at our faces.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
It's a morning. I have a face made for radio today.
I mostly just do the video side for my mom. So anyways, but also important announcement, as we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, this show, Scoundrels, Inc., will be hosting a panel at LA Comic-Con the first week of December, specifically December 3rd at 1:30 p.m. This is all Brandon's doing. We never thought we'd get approved, but here we are, mere
you know
weeks
who else
away.
Is going to be on Sunday? You know who our competition is? The Hobbits from the Lord of the Rings trilogy are going to be doing an appearance and a signing on Saturday and Sunday too. I believe it's throughout the day on Sunday. So get your picture taken with Elijah Wood, then head on over to Scoundrels Inc.
Yeah, maybe like if you're the last person to get like an autograph or photo op with Dominic Monaghan, maybe just like bring him with you, and then we could have what's his name, Kinmont something.
Beaumont Kin. You should know that name if you're going to invite him on the actual show.
Gosh. Beaumont Kin. We could have Beaumont Kin on the show. We could ask him how a 30, 40-something-year-old New Republic man knows so much about the Sith, even though their history was probably completely wiped out after the Clone Wars. But, maybe he's got a good library on his home.
Got thoughts on that one, doesn't he?
And also, guys, the strikes are over. It's over. It's we're pulling down statues on Coruscant. Fireworks are going off. Ewoks are banging on stormtrooper helmets. It's finally over. The strike is over. And yeah, and that means a lot of things are getting announced and pushed back, or officially pushed back, I guess you could say. I don't know. Is that's part of the news? I think with Star Wars, Kevin, is that right? Because like Kevin Feige and Taika,
that one, and then the KOTOR remake.
Yeah, absolutely.
All over the internet complaining about that, but
yeah. So Kevin, why don't we just jump into that KOTOR news? Because I think for a little while we had heard that this was going to be the outcome, but I guess it's like officially been confirmed that it's dead in the water now.
Yeah, I mean, there's been conflicting reports. Some people are like posting things on the Discord for KOTOR, and then like other people are retracting it and whatnot. But according to a journalist at Giant Bomb, Jeff Grubb, who brought the Ill-Fated podcast up on his podcast, or the Ill-Fated game, he said, I want to clear it up. This game is not being worked on right now. says Grubb as spotted by Insider Gaming. It's just full stop. The game's not being worked on in any way at any studio. So a lot of people online are kind of sad about that and bumming out about that. My opinions are, like, I was looking forward to it too. I think the Final Fantasy remake's really cool, as Frank can attest.
Yes.
So my heart is sad for it. My brain and everywhere else is fine with it, because the second that remake gets made, everybody's going to be like, when are you going to update your movies and redo them with the new graphics? And I don't have another 15 years to do that. So for me, like, we're kicking it old school. We're keeping it retro with our graphics and our storytelling anyway. So selfishly, I'm fine with it, but I was looking forward to it because the story, just to introduce the story to like a brand new group of people. But then there's my conspiracy theory hat on. Well, maybe they're gonna not do that because, you know, maybe they have something in the cards in another media, maybe in a form of a show or a movie. Like, maybe they're like, well, look, we can release it and like tell the story of Revan, but then maybe no one will go to see the movie when we make a movie on it, right? So maybe they're thinking, maybe Disney shut it down and was like, like, we're done, like, shut it down. We have bigger plans for Revan. So that's my deep down hope. But yeah, it's sad. I mean, they had a trailer of the thing on YouTube, then the PlayStation took it down. Sony took it off their.
Oh, it's
they
off
had that
now?
cool trailer of like the high definition Revan or whatever, and they took that down. And so when the fans noticed that removed, then there was a huge like uproar and anything like that. And so then like the CEO of the company a couple days ago during an earnings call said, I noticed that anything I say, this becomes a headline. So that is my only comment. So he didn't say that it was shut down, but he didn't say it wasn't shut down. So, but then the thing from journalist Grubb kind of contradicted all. So, you know, I think there's still hope that it's out there, but you know, that rumor is that they remade the game. They did like a first part of it, and then they played it. They played like the whole demo for Sony execs, and it went disastrous. Like, it was horrible. And so that's when they gave it to another company. So there's so many different cogs in this thing. One can only wonder what will be the end result. But for now, that's a stay of execution for me and my KOTOR team. We don't have to start from scratch and redo everything. So yeah, I'm glad. I get enough comments saying, "No, what are these Atari graphics anyway?" from people that just discover my movies that have no idea about the original game. So I'm fine with it. I'm not fine with it, but yeah.
I don't. It'd be great to remake that game with today's, you know, consoles and even PC. You know, if it was, again, for PC as well, probably would have been. It's also interesting because when things are previously been created, i.e. like books or comic books and stuff like that, Star Wars tends to not. They shy away from, you know, people talk about. Make Lost Stars a movie, make, you know, all these other, you know, books, whatever, comics into a movie or a TV show. And it seems like Star Wars has been reluctant to dip into that because there are so many other great stories out there that it seems like they don't want to, quote unquote, remake it in another medium. So I'm kind of glad in a sense that this remake of KOTOR isn't going through, at least at this point, because then that could mean that there will be space for a television show or a movie to redo that story in live action. But then again, and I know the game isn't, as of right now, is not canon, right? None of that stuff is canon. Just the period is, I think, and like I
the
think
name
Revan, I guess
Revan is technically
Revan's name. They chanted it in the
So that's technically canon. But like the story, you know, isn't necessarily, all that lore isn't necessarily canon at this point, as far as I'm aware.
It is to me, damn it.
You sound like a wrestling fan. It's real to me.
It's real to me, damn it. I'm glad that you knew that reference. Okay, I didn't know if you would.
Brandon, what are your thoughts on KOTOR? Because you've never played KOTOR, you did, or you just know mostly from?
Have you seen my movies, bro?
I've seen bits and pieces here and there. I'm waiting until you invite me over and we eat wings and watch.
Well, listen, the KOTOR Convergence movie is coming along so good that I am 100% now going to rent out a theater in LA for it. Like, it's going to need to be seen on the big screen. I saw, not to get too much into it, but I saw parts of the climax, and I'm scoring the actual final battle. But I saw parts that lead up to that are so good that, like, And I have a lot of friends in LA that all voice characters. And so, yeah, we're going to see it in a theater, bro. So the first time you see a KOTOR thing is going to be in a fucking theater. Continue.
I'm just wondering when Kevin's going to redo his movies in live action. That's what I'm wondering.
Right. When you can turn into Disney, start making all your animated into live action.
If you're going to enjoy my movie on the big screen, you're going to have to watch at least my trilogy beforehand. So, yeah, we'll do a Wings night. You guys come down. We'll watch my movies. Yeah. Maybe just the third one.
Brandon, he's been saying this for years, and it has yet to happen. No.
I'm here, guy. Look, there's a guest room right here, dude. Come on. Right. You guys can cuddle right there. It's big enough for
both of you. Don't mess with your camera. It might mess up your focus. All right. Well, also, I want to say this other thing, too, about the Old Republic. I've heard that Disney, or not Disney, but Lucasfilm isn't so keen on delving into that time period, and so if this game is officially dead, I wonder if that's part of their kind of status on the time period at this point, where they're just not gonna dabble in there and just gonna leave it to Legends, and whatever was made, it's made, and that's it. And it's just going to be a kind of like a dead period, at least for a really long time, based on some things that I've heard.
I've heard those.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it's like, looking at everything they've done leads me to believe that might be true, that they're just not really interested in delving into that.
Especially if this Mangold one goes and changes everything. Like, I know it takes place before technically KOTOR, but it
would have a ripple effect.
They just pull a left turn and they're like, they just introduce Revan during the very beginning of, they could do anything to really screw. I mean, I think that would piss off fans. Why are you trying to piss off fans? That's one of our other news items. But yeah, yeah.
We'll talk about that, Kevin. Why don't you launch into what?
Yeah, I don't have it. Taika Waititi recently said, I'm trying to find the quote here. But his movie, so Taika Waititi was going to have a movie, right. And he was, I don't know if he was bragging, or he is having a I'm found it. So Taika, I'm butchering his name. I'm glad I never got asked that in Schmodown. Taika Waititi, right?
Yeah, you're saying it. Yeah. I'm like, what are you talking about? You said it like 3 times correctly.
Oh, well, why didn't you tell me?
Because you said it with such confidence, as like you knew you were saying it right.
Yeah, Taika Waititi literally said, when someone was asked about his movie, he said, well, it'll be a Taika Waititi film, so it's going to piss people off. So a lot of people were just like, come on, man. We're at a time right now where the Star Wars fans don't need to be pissed off. Look, you don't need to. I'm all for filmmakers having their own unique visions. That's why I like the DCU at first, when I thought that DCEU, rather. With Zack Snyder's overly his style and James Wan, I just thought that was a cool thing. Give filmmakers, because when they had Ant-Man, that was Edgar Wright at first. Marvel was on board with that, but then Edgar Wright departed the project, and he was like, "Dude, they just kept telling me I had to do these things all exactly like the Marvel formula," and so that's why he left. That's why a lot of those Marvel movies are kind of feel and look the same way, with that same color. That desaturated color almost. So maybe things are going to change now with lately their failures or whatnot. But which, by the way, Marvel's was great. It was fun. It was an hour and 40 minutes of fun.
It was fine.
People are idiots. But you're allowed to not like it. You're not idiots. But the incels that are dancing on its grave are idiots. Yeah. Anyways, Taika Waititi in a quote said that his movie would piss people off. So some people were just like, some people are like, well, yeah, Taika Waititi, even helming a feature for Star Wars would divide the fan base. And I'm just let people have their voice. Let them try their hand at it. More Star Wars is good Star Wars. We've been watching, I'm watching Solo with my wife right now. Just not part of my super watch, but just watching it. And so she's really enjoying it. And I'm like, it's a shame that, and I was like, yeah, it's a really good movie. It was just placed in such a bad time. They placed 2 weeks before Infinity War, or 3 weeks. So it didn't have time to get legs. And in Star Wars, everybody got used to going to Star Wars in December, but they didn't do that. And that really shot Solo in the foot. And unfortunately, we haven't had a movie in the theaters for so long now.
Yeah.
And I miss it. I miss going to movie theaters. Like Ahsoka was great. Everything's great. Like these things are great. But even watching Solo now, and maybe it's because it is a little older in the graphics and stuff, but like it feels now, because I've seen so much Star Wars, and I know that's what we do. We're on a Star Wars podcast. We talk about the Star Wars show, but we've seen so much Star Wars on the little screen now that it's hard to, like, Solo just feels like, oh, I'm watching another Disney Plus show. And I hope that that does not become what becomes of these movies, that they all feel like it's just part of this. It's kind of like with Star Trek. Like Star Trek used to be like on the big screen only, and then, well, no, it used to be on TV. But then when it went to the big screen, like then it was so much Star Trek on TV too that you kind of just was like, oh, I can see it in the movies, but I have 7 seasons of Next Generation I could watch at home. So I miss so with TD doing a Star Wars movie, yes. Everybody, Mangold doing your Star Wars movie, yes. The Rey movie, yes. The Filoni movie, yes. Like, get it back in the theaters. And hopefully they feel different than the Disney Plus movies. That's why I like Andor. Andor feels like a movie. What do you guys think?
I like Andor. No. Obviously, like, I want to see a return to, like, theaters. And I think Solo, like, I guess, like I get what you mean. Like, how it kind of feels like TV, but also, like, Star Wars always drew like inspiration from like old TV serials. So in a way, like, I feel like that is like part of its DNA, but I get what you're saying. But yeah, no, I want to see like a return to theaters, but also like, keep the TV shows coming, especially like with something like Andor. I've said it before, but like, I can't wait to do a rewatch because it's one of like my favorite shows of all time, like not just Star Wars.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think I recently popped on the start of Andor, watched the first couple of episodes. I was like, man, this show is so good. And like, this is like maybe like a couple weeks after Ahsoka had finished. I was like, man, the quality or just like the way it's presented is so night and day. Both shows have a distinct feel, and one's not necessarily better than the other. You might prefer one to the other. That's fine. But yeah, there's something to be said about what they did with Andor and the potential for the Acolyte in the near or distant future, whenever it's going to be coming out, to have somewhat of a similar feel, because that is what has been sort of reported to feel for the feel of that show to look like. Kevin, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with Brandon. I mean, I think also it's because we were sitting on the same couch on the same TV that we just watched all of Ahsoka on. So like we're watching it together at my place, right? So it's just, but I was just telling her, I'm like, oh man, like, she saw Return of the Jedi when they re-released it here in San Diego. So she saw that on the big screen. But, yeah, I just had Star Wars on the big screen.
I will say, due to the absence of Star Wars in theaters, I think, Marvel kind of doesn't have this issue where we wish it would have this issue of, or at least some people do at least, where they wish, take a long break. And Star Wars is on a break, like a really long break, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. And when we get this first Star Wars film, which is presumably going to be the Rey movie, or I think that was confirmed as going to be the Rey movie. I'm not sure. Either way, it's probably going to be the Rey movie, right? When that comes back to theaters, I think that's going to have it's first of all, A, it's Star Wars, and B, it's going to do a lot of money because it's going to be, I don't even know how long at that point. It's going to be since we've had Star Wars in the theater. So I think a lot of people will be amped to go back to the theater to see Star Wars on the big screen. Especially, it'll all start when we start getting little teasers and trailers and all that. The hype will start building, and hopefully those trailers do well. And I'm sure they will, because Star Wars imagery just always kills it, right? It's always about what happens when you sit down for the 2-hour plus feature and then see what happens from there. But yeah, I think we need that theater feel, and I know there's people out there who love the television side of things, and I think that's great because they do a lot of great things. But it's time we get back to the movies, okay? I need to see Nicole Kidman open up this Rey movie, okay?
I want to see them do a new one with her watching the Rey movie.
Yeah.
When the Rey movie
cosplaying, she should do a themed intro for each movie.
If it's the Rey movie or the Filoni movie, whatever it is, whatever that release date is, when they finally lock it down, I forget when it is. My unpopular take is no Star Wars TV for 6 months before it too. Get people really missing it. I would even say a year, but they won't do that.
Mhm.
But get Andor out there and finish Andor, and then maybe Acolyte. I don't know if Acolyte or Andor comes first.
Andor's going to come out till 2025 at this
Great.
point.
Okay, so fine.
Don't say that, Frank.
I'm sorry, because they have all these other. They're still going to put out Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, right?
Skeleton Crew and Acolyte. Skeleton Crew comes
Mhm.
next, then it'll be Acolyte, and then full stop. Let's give it a year, and then let's get Rey in the theaters. That what I would do if they wanted to make a bazillion dollars. But that's just me. It's just me.
Yeah. Also, Bad Batch. Yeah, Bad Batch as well, and Tales of Jedi.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of stuff still that's coming out on Disney Plus. That's before we even get to a Rey movie. I don't know.
But the other news we had, the final
newsworthy, or Brandon, you have anything
the
else?
other news bite was that Kevin Feige had a Star Wars movie, and shocker to no one in this world, that movie got canceled. So,
Right.
I can't find that list. I was trying to find it before the show of like how many canceled Star Wars movies. Maybe you guys have it on hand. How many Star Wars movies have been canceled? It's crazy. It's a lot. So, but then there's talk that he might leave Marvel and take over Star Wars, which I wouldn't necessarily hate. So maybe that movie got canceled because he's getting ready to take a bigger role. Whereas like James Gunn is leading the DCU and he's directing Star Wars Superman Legacy. I think maybe Feige was like, I can't do both. So I'm gonna focus on, taking over Star Wars eventually. So that is but that's the landscape. At first, it looked like that Feige was gonna make a movie and everybody was excited. So I mean, so far, I offhand I can remember there was the trilogy that Benioff and Weiss from Game of Thrones were going to do. There was the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron epic Top Gun movie, which would have been freaking awesome. And that was canceled. So I don't know. Now Feige's is canceled, and there's just so many obviously others. Rian Johnson, we haven't heard a peep from that. So it's Star Wars staying true to form. But unfortunately, if you were looking forward to that Kevin Feige movie, that's not happening.
I think Disney in general just needs to stop announcing movies. Between Star Wars and Marvel, like how many things have been announced that are not like, remember they were going to do the Inhumans movie and then they made that god awful TV show instead.
It had like 3 episodes and they were like, oh God, this is bad.
They're just like, forget about it. This happened like so many times. And it's just like, guys, it's like they're like, oh, we have this investor meeting. We got to say something because we're just sitting on our thumbs or whatever. So it's like, oh, yeah, Patty Jenkins is doing a Top Gun Star Wars. Look, she filmed this promo video and she's gone. But yeah, I will say, though, just reiterate my love for Andor. I saw the Star Wars TikTok posted the clip of like Marva's speech. I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
I just it brought back all those emotions. I was like, I don't know. I just watched this and now I just want to hit a fascist in the face with a brick.
My favorite part about that clip is seeing BTO get knocked over. So that was my favorite part is seeing BTO get knocked over.
All right.
One bit of news, one last little bit of news. There's so we just had Life Day not too long ago from where this is airing last week, I guess, basically.
Frank, Life Day is not a real thing. It's a fake from a show. It's not real.
Okay.
It's not like
it's roll to me, damn it. Okay.
Is it on the iPhone calendar? There's Kwanzaa.
I'm gonna send an email. I'm gonna send an email to Apple and be like, put it on your calendars, guys. There's a documentary that's coming out on December 5th titled "A Disturbance in the Force," and it's about that Star Wars holiday special, and it premiered at South by Southwest, I think it was, or Southwest Film, South by Southwest, and it got good reviews, and but it's about the Star Wars special, which I have yet to watch. So now I don't know, Brandon or Kevin, have you watched it, and what are your thoughts?
I have not watched it.
I would go on a speech like Quint from Jaws and tell you that I saw that movie for the first time. You don't know that reference when he's talking about the USS Indianapolis when they fell in the water and the sharks were eating everybody? He's on the boat telling the story because it's traumatic. That's how it was watching the holiday special. But
what's Chewbacca's? What's Chewbacca's? Does he have a kid in that? What's his name?
Man, I don't know. I saw it a long time ago. The craziest one is Luke was wearing it's like shot on video, and they put way too much makeup on Luke, so he looks like he should be on a soap opera. Like Mark Hamill, it's so caked up in like this makeup, and you're like, and he's on Dagobah, and you're like, what or what the heck? Like
it is lumpy. I knew it was lumpy. Sorry, lumpy. I don't know why I didn't just say that. I was gonna do a bit where I was sorry, Frank. I was just gonna do a bit where it was like lumpy had the blackest eyes, like a doll's eyes.
There it is. You did know my reference.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling anything from you guys, but yeah,
something like that. I mixed up.
We should all watch it together. Yeah. That would be something fun to watch together.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, should I watch the holiday special before I watch this documentary, or should I watch the documentary and then go, "Oh God, should I watch this?" No, you want to watch
the special, so then when the documentary's talking about things, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, freaking B. Arthur did sing that." You know what I mean?
Oh my God! I mean, there's stuff that I know about it just through the legend that is the holiday special. I've seen clips here and there, but I've never sat down and watched it.
It did have the Boba Fett cartoon. That was cool. I wonder if they'll first appearance of Boba Fett canon in the holiday special.
All right, well, you know what? Yeah. As we begin to wrap up here this episode on Thanksgiving, hope everyone, at least in the U.S., is enjoying their Thanksgiving.
Yeah, people in Canada already had theirs.
Right. And then also, if you celebrate Black Friday, it's not as crazy as it once was, I think, I mean, we had the pandemic that kind of shut things down, but I don't think it's as crazy as it once was, and also, the economy, all that. Anyways, let's just go through, let's say one thing that we're grateful for from Star Wars as we wrap up this episode. I'm going to start with Kevin because he's so amped up today. I'm sure he's got a lot to be thankful for, but he's got to pick one thing. One thing you're thankful for.
Well, first I want to make sure Brandon's house is not on fire because, the background has that Pirates of the Caribbean effect because of the leaves or something. It looks like there's a raging fire going on behind you. So, are you okay?
Yeah, no, it's just, it's the sun. There's a tree over there.
It's the sun.
These are some mostly, they're not blackout, but they're kind of almost blackout curtains.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they're at all like blackout curtains.
I don't think they're blackout curtains at all. I feel like it's making your room brighter.
Through.
It gets pretty dark in here, guys. All right.
Oh, when the sun goes down? Yeah, I'm sure.
My room is darker than yours at this point. I'm thankful for two things I'll say real quick. The music of Star Wars. I'm thankful for a lot of things, but if we're just narrowing it down, we're wrapping up here. I'm thankful for the music of Star Wars. I think that is what got me right back into it when I had discovered the movie soundtracks were coming out before special editions. And I just remember I got Star Wars chess on PC, and they had real sound ups of the music. So whenever you'd move Yoda's piece, it would have his theme. And I was like, oh, I remember this music. It was good because I hadn't really been into Star Wars for a little piece of my life, and then I got back into it right before the special edition. So I'm thankful for the music that got me back into my fandom, and also I love using the music in many different iterations in my KOTOR movies. That's what I head up mostly on all my KOTOR movies. I do the music design and stuff, so it's been real fun. There's so many good themes out there. You think that just banger after banger, I love Rey's theme even in the sequels, that came out. You think that they'd never be able to top it with new iconic music, but they do. Rey's theme, obviously Yoda's theme, Across the Stars is great. Imperial March. I mean, I could just keep going on. So I'm thankful for the Star Wars music, and I'm also thankful for the games, obviously, because it brought us KOTOR, but we don't need to go into that.
Brandon, you got something, one or two pieces of Star Wars you're thankful for? What you got?
I'm thankful for Tim and his mean cup of calf. It's got to be good. I feel like to land a girl like Bix and you're Tim,
better be.
You better it's that coffee, that life changing. So
unless he's putting something in the coffee, which I wouldn't put it past him.
Beans.
But how did Andor's coffee taste? Because he used to date her first. So was his coffee good?
He's just got a better personality. That's all.
Yeah. He's just more likable, is what you're. Yeah.
I'm thankful for this Star Wars podcast. Huh? That wouldn't exist without Star Wars. Otherwise, what would this be like? A Star Trek podcast? What do you watch Star Trek, right. Frank? Anything?
I watch Star Trek.
You know what a podcast?
No, not enough. But if I did a podcast, I would watch a lot more.
You're not going to be part of our Enterprises podcast? Enterprise.
Right.
Were the USS Reliant red shirts? Something alliterative like that.
All right, bring it back to Star Wars. Come on.
Star Wars. I am thankful
for Star Wars because of Star Trek, man. Come on, you're about to get kicked off this podcast.
I am thankful. Really? I'm thankful for the prequels because I think they really started my love for film and filmmaking at an early age, watching all those special features on the DVD. Watching that, I was like, wow, I want to make Star Wars movies when I grow up. And now look at this. This is the next best thing.
Right. A podcast.
A podcast that may or may not have Dominic Monaghan stopping by at the LA Comic-Con panel. So you should definitely come to meet him. And if he doesn't show up, just stay anyways.
Yeah. Stay anyways. On that note, actually, one of the things I'm thankful for through Star Wars is that there's I'm thankful that it helps me keep some friendship connections because, and this is kind of somewhat the title of our panel going into that, but it's true because as I was thinking about it, as we're getting ready to do the panel, I was thinking about it more and more, and I was like, yeah, I really love that. I have one of my best friends back home. We don't talk all the time anymore. We're getting older, doing other things, and we're like 2,000 miles apart, whatever. But I could always, if I haven't talked to him in like 2 or 3 months, let's say, I could always say, hey, I could always send him a video or a link to a Star Wars thing, and it just, you pick up right where you left off when you send someone, do you see this news about the Rey movie? It's just, and it's you just fall right back into, when you last left off, And so I'm thankful that Star Wars has also, even with our community that we've kind of built within Discord and all that, all these little connections that Star Wars has had an effect on, and meeting new and different people and getting to know just different walks of life sometimes as well. And I really love that aspect of what Star Wars has been able to bring to some of the relationships in my lives with friends and past, present, and future maybe. So also again, kind of what you're talking about too, Brandon. This podcast as well as being sitting down here talking with you guys week after week, figuring out what we're gonna do is also like that could be a show in itself. What are we gonna do next? But getting on here and talking with you guys because. Star Wars is like the thing that is one of the major tenets, or at least it's the thing that lasts the longest, I guess, because obviously we met all through the Schmodown, and then what was the one thing that really kind of kept things going? I think was through Star Wars, that thread. There's that one thread.
Corn dogs and Bud Light.
Corn dogs.
Theme park food guy.
Yeah,
theme park food.
But I mean, yeah. So I mean, but I think. So Star Wars indirectly has had an effect on a lot of my friendships in some ways. It's also just a thing for other people to be like any little Star Wars thing. Sometimes I'll have people send me just random stuff of like videos who I haven't even maybe necessarily talked to in a while, and they feel like they can just send me like a video or whatever, and I'll be like, yeah, thanks, And I think that's the cool thing about Star Wars too, is that if someone knows you're a fan of Star Wars, it could be the littlest thing. It could be even, trading cards, and just be like, hey, I had these out of you, and I think that's a really cool thing. So, yeah.
I think it binds the galaxy together, as Obi-Wan
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to, rip them off.
It surrounds us.
Penetrates us.
Penetrates us.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'll be honest. Every time I hear that line, I always think of Blue Harvest, a Family Guy special. And with the what's the character's name that plays Obi-Wan in that? Oh, what's his name? because you have
the
Brian
old guy,
and
Does he make a joke about penetrates us? Is that why you're? Because he's such a creepy old man.
He's something like something. I forget the exact line, but I always think of him because he's such a creep. And anyways, maybe we should watch Blue Harvest. We should talk about Blue Harvest. Anyways. All right, I think that's gonna wrap it up here for this week's edition of Scoundrels Inc. here on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, whether you're in the U.S. or not. Thankful for you for tuning in and coming along with us on this ride as we do more and more episodes on this channel, have more and more fun talking about Star Wars things and all of that. So for the guys, I'm Frank Janich. That's Kevin Smets, Brandon Hanna. We'll see you next week as we do Star Wars battles. Which one's the best one? And we'll have that discussion next week. We'll see you then.
Scoundrel. I like the sound of that.